Hello and welcome to another XRay.Tech video. Today we're going to be talking about monitoring your automations. So if you've been building automations for some time now, you might be very familiar with things like the History tab inside of your Zapier or Integromat accounts. Well, I have for you today two really important additions to monitoring your history that I think can make your life quite a bit easier. So let's get into it. First, if you haven't heard about it yet, checking your history. So checking your history in Zapier and Integromat is really easy. You can navigate to your account, go to the History tab, and be able to see all the different automations that have run on your account. So those runs may show errors, they may show successes, but your history inside of your automation software is going to be the primary place that most people look to monitor their automations. But if you, like most people on the internet, have a day job that is not automation, you might want some more simple ways to be able to monitor whether or not the automation is running or on or errored or any combination thereof. The next way that I would really recommend is sending a Slack message. So if you have Teams or Slack or whatever chat application you prefer, you would be able to add a specific action at the end of every single one of your automations that just simply announce that this automation ran. Now, Zapier has by default, it includes in your Slack message the zap that triggered the Slack message. It's really handy. Announcing what automation is running inside of your Slack lets everyone know at the company what is happening and what is automatically happening, most importantly. And if anything does go awry, where an automation's looping or you want to be able to double click into whether or not something is happening the way that you're expecting it, having a Slack message that links directly to the automation can just really simplify your own monitoring and give you peace of mind that, hey, this stuff is happening, whether or not you are watching that Slack channel. So sending a Slack message is a really simple way and really best practices for keeping your entire team aware of what is going on. Lastly here is setting the triggers for your automations to be user controlled. If you have an automation that runs every Friday, 5 o'clock, you get a notification on Slack that says, hey, time to stop working. Great. Right? That is a time-based automation. You may also have software-controlled triggers where something happens in one of your specific software and then you trigger an entire automation. You can learn more about the types of triggers and setting up automations based off of those triggers in the description down below. For user-controlled automations, this is going to be something like a BCC trigger inside of your email or a survey completion inside of Airtable. These are things that humans need to do to trigger the automation to work. So when you're setting up user-controlled triggers, you have the ability to, attach that Slack message or be able to monitor whether or not this specific human trigger was actually activated. It's another layer of visibility into how your automations are running and working, and it should give you a much higher fidelity of control when you're monitoring what is happening in this automation infrastructure that you're in the process of making. One thing to note with the user-controlled trigger, you still want to include that Slack step. But monitoring your automations through a user-controlled trigger gives you peace of mind that at least the process is starting with a human. So I hope this video has been helpful. There are a lot of different ways to stay on top of your automation infrastructure, and monitoring the history, sending Slack messages, and creating user-controlled triggers are just 3 simple ways of figuring that out. So if you have any other questions or comments that you'd like us to cover here on the show, don't be afraid to comment. As always, links and resources are down below. And don't forget, keep the flow.